This channel's been around since 2007 when YouTube looked more like this and people were making wallets out of duct tape and the first iPhone was released, which makes me feel pretty damn old. This channel has basically been my own personal artist vlog, from painting shoes, toys, games consoles, canvases, and even trying to make my own video game in recent months. However, with some varying degrees of success, I never actually managed to capitalise on this popularity. Now, this channel has always been about making cool stuff for myself, whether it be the animation or otherwise. However, more recently it's been more difficult to do so because I'm trying to juggle a full-time job working 40 hours a week. Now, being an extremely small channel, stopping and starting doesn't exactly work in YouTube's favour to give me the time of day. However, that doesn't stop me, and the reason why is very simple. I actually enjoy doing this. Especially when you look back at some of the old videos I used to do, seeing my skills develop as an artist, I can really see that my style has changed over the years. However, seeing my skills improve over the years have made me realise this. I actually do have the skills to create what I actually want. And there's one issue that's avoiding all this. Time. Now, why am I trying to get all sentimental? Previously, I mentioned that I was trying to make a video game, and that was a massive undertaking. I know, obviously, trying to be a solo dev is really difficult to do in the first place, so I don't know really why I took that massive project on, especially for someone who just mentioned they don't have enough time in the day to work on it. And it kind of did okay. I designed a few characters, I designed a background or two, I basically started writing the story before it started spiraling out of control, and then it ended up being put on the shelf of projects that I will never get to finish. So what do I do now? What do I do to get out of that typical grind of 30 hours a day a week to try and become more full-time as an artist, YouTuber, influencer? Just throw up a little bit in there in my mouth trying to say the word influencer. And the best way I can explain this is thus. Start simple. And I mean simpler than that small little video game I was trying to make as well. I already started designing the characters in the background, and I started coming up with a story, and it was the story that was spiraling out of control and stopping me from working on the actual game itself, which is why it fell to the wayside. So what do we do about that? Well, we try and figure out a project to what I can do smaller, I can actually accomplish in the spare time that I have. And thus brings to this video. I'm going to try and make a kids book. Now, a kids book can be relatively simple. It can be broken down into 32 or 28 roughly pages, usually one story, and it can be completed with various illustrations along the way. Now, I have a tendency of starting projects and never finishing them, as I said before. However, this is where it becomes full circle. I was walking in the centre of town and I walked by CEX. Most people normally look in the windows of these things to see what's on offer. For those of you who don't know, CEX is the thing where you buy and trade and sell electronics. And in the window was one little thing. It was this. This is a Pikachu Edition Game Boy. Now, to anyone normal, this would just be a Pikachu Edition Game Boy. It's worth so much. Don't know why it's worth this much. However, to me, I had this Game Boy. I had that exact one. And what did I do with this? I ended up selling it for a flight over to Ireland, which is essentially the first job that I had in animation. And I met many people along the way. This would include my wife. And it all stemmed from me selling that Game Boy. Essentially selling, leaving my childhood behind in order to carry on moving forward. And this got me thinking, that lone little Game Boy in that little shop window has seen years of wear and tear, and it's just been left alone to essentially gather dust. Being stuck in that window, realizing that you're not going to move anywhere, and wait until someone comes along and picks you up. That's kind of a story in itself, surely. Now, some people call it various things. Some call it writer's block, artist block. Some people call it quitting on your dreams. However, I have never given up. I've never given up wanting to make something for myself. And it's no fault of my own. But this changes this year. I've had the opportunity to try and do this book, for real, start to finish. I'm actually going to finish this book, get it printed, and at least try and do some kind of launch in some way, shape or form. Every single time I do projects, I normally try and fail. Whether it's trying to get views, whether it's trying to get subscribers, whether it's even trying to get money and trying to start my own art business. It's always failed, every single time. And being on this platform since 2007, you kind of realize how long I've been doing it for. So I'm holding myself accountable. From now until the end of the year, I'm going to be working on this book. If it doesn't see the light of day, it doesn't see the light of day. So I'm holding myself accountable. I'll probably see you in a couple of weeks, maybe in a couple of months, who knows. But I'm going to be actually doing some devlogs on this process. I'm going to be doing a few things showing off what the characters look like, showing you the process of the story itself, which I've already started to write. And hopefully, it'll actually result in something. But if you've been working on this as long as I have, you kind of realize you're running out of chances. So this is probably one of them. We'll see what happens. My name has been All My Jazz. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe, please press here or somewhere along here. YouTube changes it constantly. And yeah, let's hope there's no more wallets made out of duct tape. See you later.